Aron froze in place as he beheld the mermaid who had appeared beside his boat. His previously pragmatic state of mind slipped slightly away, and for a brief moment he was overcome with fascination. He found her a pretty creature, and was especially in awe of her long ginger hair. She stared back with a wide-eyed expression and her mouth held slightly ajar, as if she would say something but found herself reluctant. Seeing what looked like fear in her eyes, the boy began their conversation. "Hello," he said calmly. The courtesy of a simple greeting was apparently all that the creature needed, as she returned a swift "hello" back to him. Are you okay?" he stuttered. "No," she replied with a shudder. I need your help." Aron's admiration of her quickly dissipated, and fear took its place. He'd been told stories about mermaids, how they'd lure you in close with pretty soft-spoken words, only to pull you into the depths once you're within arm's reach. He glanced quickly behind him and stepped closer to the center of the deck. Then he closed and pocketed the compass in his hand, his alert attention now fully on the mermaid. "You need my help?" he questioned dismissively. "Yes," she gasped. "You're a sailor." The boy kept his wits about him. "I'm barely one. I haven't done much good for myself out here. I doubt I'd be of much use to you." "You have to help me," she begged. "Please." There was a moment of silence as Aron hesitated. "What would you have me do?" he eventually asked. "Help me onto your boat." Aron laughed loudly at her answer. "Really? What's so funny?" she asked, clearly confused. "You think I'm that easy to catch?" "Catch?" she repeated. "I don't know what you mean." "I think you do." "And yet I don't," she asserted, before composing herself with a deep, sighing breath. "By the heavens, I was not sure what I should expect from talking to a sailor, but I can say most certainly that I did not expect him to be so untrusting." Aron simply laughed again, but did not turn his attention away. The mermaid continued. "I have come to you pleading. I have told you frankly what it is that I want, and you don't believe me. But instead of talking so we might reach some form of understanding, you just stand there and laugh at me." Aron's tone became more serious. "I know what you are, a mermaid. I know that you would pull me overboard and drown me in the water should I come close enough." He paused for a moment. "There. Do we have an understanding?" The creature studied the boy with unimpressed eyes. "I likewise know what you are, sailor," she eventually responded. "You would skewer me with your spear if only you held it in your hand. Perhaps, if I show you my tail, you might be tempted to cast out a line to hook me with." The boy stood stunned, both by her words and the spite that shone clearly through them. I wouldn't kill you," he started. "And I wouldn't kill you. I can't imagine why you think I would." "I've heard tales." "You've heard myths. We avoid you whenever we can. Which is why I'll be safe on your boat." There was a hesitance and a strange sadness in her last sentence, as if she'd resigned herself to a terrible fate. Aron finally humoured her. "Why aren't you safe in the water?" "There is a creature hunting me. A giant serpent of the dark ocean." "It hunts for you specifically," said Aron. "Yes," she answered. "It lives as a servant to my family, and it was set upon me." "Why?" "Because," she sighed, "I agreed to marry someone whom my mother judges better suited to my sister." "Are you a princess?" The stark question took the poor girl by surprise. "Why do you ask?" "My family has no servants, and no one judges whom I am suited to marry save myself," the boy explained. "I can't say if it's different in the sea, but that's the stuff of nobility where I come from." The mermaid gave Aron a strange expression that he found hard to read. Confusion, frustration that she tried to conceal, as well as a surprisingly charmed look, emerged almost at the same time, as if all her emotions were fighting to prevail upon her face. "It is likewise in the dark ocean, sailor," she said flatly. My mother is the Thane that rules these waters, which makes me a princess here. Your Highness, the boy exclaimed with a bow. Even he was not sure if he meant it earnestly or in jest. Thoughts whirred around his head until they landed on a practical question. If it is true, what you say, why ask for my help? Is there no one else you can go to? I am not the Thane, she answered. What power has a princess if her own mother is the one to move against her? Aron gazed at the girl's eyes and smiled. From the chaos of the storm to hitting his head, meeting this strange creature, and finally hearing of some underwater royal feud, he didn't know what a rational response would even look like, and simply laughed. With her own eyes meeting his in return, she cracked a smile, and a slight exhale of confused laughter. You say there's a giant serpent after you? Aron asked once his laughter died. Yes, she said. What's to stop it from sinking my boat if I let you aboard? The girl shook her head slowly. It can't. Your boat will not be touched, even if the serpent finds it and knows I am on board. How can you possibly know that? He said dismissively. It's true, she cried. Harming a sailor brings terrible things upon us. Terrible. It is written on the walls of all the temples of Rathia. In fact, they warn us to stay away entirely. Why do you think we live so far down in the dark? So why are you here then, ignoring such warnings and talking to me? The boy argued. The mermaid's throat tightened, and she struggled to speak. What else can I do? Aron stared at her for a while, and took a deep breath. You need this, he asked seriously. She nodded, and just about uttered, Please. It seemed to the boy that she meant no harm, but a notion gnawed at the back of his mind to remain cautious. Okay, Aron swallowed, but I won't offer my hand. I'm going to cast a rope, and you can either claim, or I'll reel you in. The girl simply nodded, then let go of the side of the boat. She dipped underwater for a moment before emerging again a little way away. Aron fetched a rope and tied it around the mast. Look out! He called in a cheerful tone as he cast the line into the water. Got hold? He called again after a moment. Yes. The mermaid began to climb, and was quickly hit with how weak her arms felt above the surface. Her long tail, which made her so agile in the water, weighed heavy in the air. A new wave of fear washed over her, as if trusting the sailor was madness. She was climbing into a new world, where she would be vulnerable. Her hands began to shake, and she only retained strength enough to simply hold on, unwillingly letting the boy do the work from then. He pulled on the rope until eventually she tipped over the port side railing, and she crashed gracelessly upon the deck. She shivered again, this time with cold, as the water started to evaporate off her skin. Aron ran a pace towards her, as if going to check she was okay, but he hesitated so as to not get too close. He stood still and coiled the rope back in before tossing it aside. You okay? He called out to her. Yeah, she said as she started shuffling across the deck, crawling with her hands and the wriggling of her tail. The boy made a decision in that moment. Seeing her there like a fish out of water, he suddenly considered that she's unarmed, she has no sharp teeth like a siren, and she can't possibly drag him underwater now that she's aboard. Fear had gone away, and an undisputed trust of all she'd said finally set in the boy's mind. He raced over and offered a hand out to her. She looked up with one hand still flat on the deck, the other swiping away wet hair from in front of her face. When she saw him, her eyes widened, as if understanding where his thoughts had come to. She accepted his hand in hers, then he shifted his position so that his hands were under her arms, and he dragged her comfortably over to the cabin, where she could sit against the wall. He sat down with her, leaning himself against the banister of the portside stairs. The two locked eyes again, and smiled at each other. What is your name? Asked the mermaid. I'm Aron, he replied. What's yours? Iria, she said.